I want you to think about two men, both 38 years old, same country, same cost of living. Neither inherited money. The first man, let's call him Rick, pulls in $11,000 a month. He drives a 2022 BMW 5 Series. He lives in a well-furnished apartment in a good part of the city. He wears the right watch, posts the right trips, has a title at a company that sounds impressive at dinner. Rick has a credit score of 740, 3 credit cards with combined limits of $45,000, and a savings account with $1,400 in it. Not $1,400, not $140,000, $1,400. The second man, call him Brian, earns $4,800 a month. He drives a 2016 Honda Civic with 90,000 miles on it. He rents a modest 2-bedroom flat on the edge of a good neighborhood. He does not post about money. He rarely talks about it. But Brian has $67,000 in index funds, owns a small piece of commercial property with a partner, carries 0 consumer debt, and sleeps without an alarm because he stopped needing to. Same country, one earns more than twice as much. The other is building a financial empire in complete silence. This is not a story about income. This is not a story about luck or connections or timing. This is a story about a set of rules that the wealthy have always operated by. Rules they don't teach in school, rules the financial industry has no incentive to explain to you, and rules that most high earners will go their entire lives never discovering. Today, I'm going to give you those rules, not as motivational advice, as a tactical breakdown of how money actually moves, how wealth is actually built, and why everything the middle class was taught about financial success is almost perfectly designed to keep them from achieving it. Stay with me, because the rule I'm saving for last is the one nobody talks about, and it is the one that will change how you see every financial decision you make for the rest of your life. Let's start with something uncomfortable. The financial system was not built for you to win. It was built for you to participate. There is a critical difference between those two things. Banks don't profit when you build wealth. They profit when you borrow. Insurance companies don't profit when nothing goes wrong. They profit from your fear of what might. The investment products sold to the middle class are engineered to transfer a percentage of your returns, quietly, consistently, invisibly, to the institutions managing them. This is not a conspiracy. It is arithmetic, and the wealthy know the arithmetic. The first silent rule is this: the wealthy do not use money the way you were taught to use money. You were taught to earn, spend, and save whatever's left. That's the sequence. Earn, spend, save. That sequence is the financial architecture of staying exactly where you are. The wealthy operate a different sequence. They earn, they deploy, they live on the remainder. That word deploy is doing all the work. A dollar deployed is a dollar assigned to produce more dollars without you trading additional hours to make it happen. A dollar spent is a dollar gone. These are not the same activity, but the middle class has been trained to treat them identically, filing both under things I did with money this month. Brian doesn't save what's left. Before his salary hits his spending account, 30% is already gone, split between an index fund, a property holding account, and a 6-month emergency reserve he built once and no longer actively contributes to because it's full. He doesn't experience that 30% as money he's losing. He structured his life so he never sees it. It deploys automatically the morning his salary arrives, before he's bought a single thing. Rick waits to see what's left at the end of the month. There is never anything left. This is not because Rick is irresponsible. It is because money, like water, fills whatever container it's placed in. Without a predefined deployment structure, spending expands to consume available income at every salary level. Rick discovered this when he got a raise 2 years ago. His lifestyle expanded within 60 days to absorb the additional income entirely. He called it treating himself. The financial system called it a successful outcome. The second silent rule is one that will make you angry when you fully understand it. The wealthy never pay full price for money. Here's what that means. When you borrow money, a car loan, a personal loan, a credit card balance you carry month to month, you pay interest. You already know this. What you may not have fully computed is what you are actually buying. When Rick carries a $7,000 balance on a credit card at 24% annual interest, he is paying $1,680 per year, $140 per month for the privilege of owing money. That $140 does not buy him anything. It does not reduce the principal. It does not improve his credit score. It is the pure cost of being on the wrong side of a financial transaction. He is the product. The bank is the business. Now, here is the part nobody explains. That same $7,000, if deployed into an index fund tracking the broader market, has historically returned an average of 10 to 11% annually over long periods. That's $700 to $770 in growth. So Rick isn't just paying $1,680 in interest, he is paying $1,680 plus forfeiting approximately $735 in potential growth. The true annual cost of that credit card balance is closer to $2,415 on $7,000. The wealthy understand that debt is a commodity with a price. They use debt strategically to acquire appreciating assets and avoid it entirely for depreciating ones. They borrow to buy commercial property that generates rent. They do not borrow to buy a television. The interest structure is identical. The direction of wealth transfer is opposite. This is not about deprivation. It is about understanding which side of the transaction you are on. Every consumer debt product in existence is designed to keep you on the expensive side. The silent rule is simple. Never pay for money unless that money is going to produce more money than it costs. The third rule is psychological, and it is the most dangerous one to ignore. The wealthy have permanently separated their identity from their spending. This one requires honesty. The middle class uses money to signal status. The bag, the car, the restaurant, the holiday. These are not simply purchases. They are messages. They communicate worth, success, taste, and belonging. And the financial industry has engineered an entire ecosystem around selling you the ability to send those messages on credit. The BMW Rick drives costs him $1,100 per month in payments and insurance. When asked why he has that car, Rick will give you several logical explanations: reliability, safety, resale value. What he will not say, because he has never examined it clearly enough to say it, is that the car is doing emotional work that his bank account cannot. It is telling a story about who he is. It is convincing him and the people around him that he has arrived somewhere. Brian drives the Civic because it gets him where he needs to go. He is not performing financial security. He has it. When you actually have it, you stop needing to signal it. This is not about being cheap. The wealthy spend extravagantly, but on experiences, time, and assets, not on symbols. What they refuse to do is pay a premium to look wealthy before they are. That premium, the gap between what a status purchase costs and what a functional alternative would have cost, is one of the most consistent and destructive financial leaks in the middle class. And it is invisible because it is emotional, not logical. Here's the question worth sitting with. How many of your fixed monthly expenses exist because of what you need, and how many exist because of what you want people to think about you? Take your time. The answer is almost always more confronting than expected. Before I give you the next rule, and this one is the tactical core of everything we're discussing today, I want to ask you something directly. If any part of what you're hearing right now is hitting close to home, if you see Rick in your own bank account, your own car payment, your own credit card balance, drop it in the comments right now. Tell me what you're working with. This channel exists to build a community of people who are actually doing the work, not just watching finance content and feeling good about it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now, because the rule I'm about to give you is the one that separates people who understand money from people who master it. The fourth silent rule: the wealthy build systems. The middle class sets goals. This distinction sounds minor. It is not. Rick has financial goals. He wants to save $20,000 by the end of the year. He has wanted this for 3 consecutive years. He has not done it once. Not because he lacks discipline or desire, but because a goal without an automated system attached to it is just a wish that checks in on itself at the end of every month and feels shame when the number is wrong. A system removes the decision entirely. Brian does not decide every month whether to invest. The investment happens before he has the option to choose otherwise. He built the system once, 2 years ago, on a Saturday morning, and it has operated without his involvement on every single payday since. His wealth is building whether he thinks about it or not, whether he's motivated or exhausted, whether it's been a good month or a terrible one. This is the mechanical truth about wealth accumulation that no motivational content wants to tell you, because it isn't exciting. The actual act of building wealth is boring. It is a direct debit. It is an index fund that you do not check every morning. It is a bank account you cannot easily access. The drama and the strategy belong to the setup, the architecture of the system. Once that's done, the wealthy get out of their own way and let the system run. The question is not whether you want to be wealthy. Everyone wants to be wealthy. The question is whether you have built a structure that produces wealth automatically, regardless of how you feel on any given Tuesday. If the answer is no, the goal is irrelevant. Build the system first. The fifth silent rule is about something the wealthy almost never discuss in public, because acknowledging it disrupts the mythology of meritocracy. They buy time before they buy anything else. Time is the only non-renewable asset. Every other resource, money, skills, relationships, energy, can be rebuilt, recovered, or replaced. Time cannot. The middle class spends money to acquire things. The wealthy spend money to acquire hours. This might look like hiring someone to clean the house, not because they can't do it, but because 3 hours of cleaning is worth less deployed there than in a business decision, a strategic conversation, or genuine rest. It might look like paying a premium for a flight that lands at a reasonable hour, because arriving exhausted costs more in diminished performance over the following 2 days than the price difference between economy and business class. It might look like outsourcing tasks that are technically manageable, but that consume high-quality mental bandwidth that could be used for income-generating activity. The calculus the wealthy apply is not, can I afford this? It is, what is my most valuable use of the next 3 hours? And is this the best way to spend it? Most middle-class financial advice runs in the opposite direction. Make your own coffee, cook every meal, do your own taxes, handle your own admin. The cumulative time cost of extreme frugality in low-leverage tasks is enormous, and it is almost never acknowledged. There is a version of saving money that is actually costing you a significant amount of wealth, because the hours you're protecting small amounts of cash with could be building something that compounds. The wealthy know the exact value of their time. Most people have never calculated it once. The sixth silent rule is where we enter territory that most finance channels will not take you. The wealthy understand that the stock market is not a casino, but the way the middle class uses it might as well be. The average retail investor underperforms the index market by 3 to 4 percentage points annually, not because the market is rigged against them, because of behavior. They check their portfolio daily. They feel the losses 3 times more intensely than the gains. They sell in panic when prices drop, which is mechanically the moment they should be buying more. They buy when markets are euphoric, which is mechanically the moment risk is at its highest. Then they repeat the cycle and wonder why they're not building wealth. The wealthy, the ones who have been quietly building for 20 years, do almost nothing. They invest in diversified low-cost index funds on a fixed schedule. They do not respond to market volatility. They do not rotate between sectors based on quarterly earnings calls. They don't have a portfolio strategy they've updated 6 times this year. They have a position they haven't touched since they opened it, and that position has compounded at a rate that their emotionally active friends have never approached. The single most destructive force in retail investing is not fees, taxes, or bad stock picks. It is the investor's own brain, pattern matching against short-term noise and making expensive decisions based on feelings that have no predictive value over a 20-year horizon. Silence is a strategy. Inaction is a position. The wealthy have known this for a long time. We come now to the final rule, the one I told you to stay for. I want you to think about what financial freedom actually means. Not the Instagram definition, the retirement before 40, laptop on the beach version. The real definition. Financial freedom is the permanent removal of financial fear from your decision making. It is not a number. It is not a milestone. It is a psychological state that you build the architecture for systematically over time. And the silent rule that makes it possible is one the wealthy have internalized so deeply that most of them can't even articulate it when asked. They never make a financial decision from a position of scarcity. This is a rule. Read it again. When you are afraid of losing money, you make bad decisions with money. You keep their savings in a low-yield account because the stock market feels risky. You stay in a job that is slowly destroying you because the salary feels too dangerous to walk away from. You don't negotiate your rate, ask for the raise, or launch the business because the financial floor beneath you is too thin to absorb a mistake. Scarcity thinking is not a personality trait. It is the predictable output of a financial structure that has no margin in it. When every dollar is already spoken for, every risk feels existential because it is. One unexpected expense away from crisis is not a mindset problem. It is an architecture problem. The wealthy build margin first. Before the investments, before the assets, before the strategies, they build a financial buffer large enough that most problems become inconveniences rather than emergencies. And once they have that buffer, every financial decision they make changes in quality. They can wait. They can negotiate from patience rather than desperation. They can say no to bad opportunities because they are not hungry enough to take them. Brian's $67,000 in investments is not what gives him freedom. His 6-month emergency reserve is. That reserve is the wall between him and scarcity thinking. It is the reason he can make clear, unhurried, strategic decisions about money. It is the reason he sleeps without an alarm. Rick's $1,400 in savings means that a single car repair, a single medical bill, a single month of reduced income is enough to destabilize everything. It is impossible to think like a wealthy person when your financial architecture produces the lived experience of someone perpetually one step from the edge. You cannot out-discipline a broken structure. The silent wealth rules are not secrets because the wealthy are hiding them. They are silent because they are boring, structural, and unspectacular. They don't sell. They don't go viral. They don't produce the rush of a hot stock tip or a rapid-fire list of money hacks. They produce Brian, quietly, steadily, over time. A person who has separated their financial security from their income level, their status from their spending, and their future from their fear. The system you build this month will be running 5 years from now whether you're thinking about it or not. The only question is whether it's building something or draining it. Build the margin. Deploy before you spend. Stop performing wealth before you have it. Make your investments boring and your strategy silent. The richest people you will never know are operating this way right now, in complete silence. Now you know why.